If you've been scrolling through endless lists of meat slicers, watching videos of people bragging about the perfect slice, and still feel stuck, you're not alone. It's easy to get tangled in claims about commercial-grade blades and instant thin cuts, only to wonder if any of it actually works in a real kitchen. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this review, I'm going to break down exactly what the Berkel X13E Plus does, who will actually get value from it, and where it can feel like a miss. First off, let's set the scene. The X13E Plus is a 13-inch manual gravity feed slicer. That means you load the meat or cheese onto a tray, gravity does the heavy lifting, and you crank the handle to push the product across the blade. There's no motor humming in the background, no electricity bill creeping up, just a straightforward hand-operated experience. For many home cooks, that sounds appealing, but it also brings a few practical considerations that you don't see on a spec sheet. Who should buy this? If you're the type of person who actually makes deli-style sandwiches at home, think homemade roast beef, smoked turkey, or a weekend charcuterie board, then the hands-on control of a manual slicer can be a game changer. You get to dial in the exact thickness, from paper-thin deli slices to chunkier steak cuts, without waiting for a machine to spin up. Small-scale food service operators, like a neighborhood CAF that sells a few paninis a day, also benefit. They can slice a batch of pastrami or cheese quickly, and the lack of a motor means fewer parts that can fail, which is a nice safety net when you're on a tight budget. On the flip side, if you're looking for a set-and-forget solution for high-volume slicing, say a full-service deli or a catering operation that needs to process pounds of meat every hour, the manual nature becomes a bottleneck. You'll be spending more elbow grease than you might anticipate, and the speed simply won't match an electric counterpart. Likewise, if you're only ever slicing a few ounces for a family dinner once a week, the whole machine might feel like overkill. In those cases, a simple kitchen knife or a smaller, less expensive hand slicer could do the job without taking up counter space. Now let's talk about the practical strengths. The first thing you notice when you set the X13E Plus up is the stability of its base. It sits solidly on a countertop, and because it's not vibrating from a motor, there's little wobble when you push the carriage. That steadiness translates into cleaner cuts, especially important when you're aiming for uniform slices for a platter. The gravity feed design also means the food is held in a consistent position as it moves toward the blade, reducing the wiggle you sometimes get with push-type slicers. For someone who's particular about presentation, that can be a noticeable upgrade. Another upside is the simplicity of cleaning. With no electric components, you can detach the blade housing, rinse the tray, and wipe down the carriage without worrying about water seeping into a motor. The blade itself is stainless steel, and because you're manually feeding the product, you can control how much pressure you apply, which reduces the chance of the blade chipping on tougher cuts. If you're comfortable with basic kitchen maintenance, this slicer won't demand a special cleaning routine. On the downside, the manual effort required can become tiring if you're slicing large pieces. A thick roast or a block of cheese will need several full rotations of the handle, and while the cranking feels smooth, it's still a workout for the wrist. Some users have reported that the handle can become a bit loose after months of heavy use, requiring a simple tightening screw, something to keep in mind if you plan to use it daily. Also, because the machine is built for manual operation, there's no built-in safety guard that automatically retracts the blade when you're not slicing. You'll need to be vigilant about keeping fingers clear of the carriage and using the provided handguard, which adds a small but real safety step. A practical scenario that illustrates both the strength and the limitation is prepping a Sunday roast for a family gathering. You'll lay the cooked meat on the tray, set the thickness lever to a medium setting, and start cranking. The first few slices come out thin and even, perfect for sandwich fillings. As you get deeper into the roast, the meat becomes firmer and you have to push harder. By the time you reach the end, you may notice a slight slowdown in the speed of your cranking. That's the point where the manual nature shows its limits, but for most home cooks, the trade-off of a little extra effort for high-quality slices is acceptable. If you run a small CAF that offers a build-your-own sandwich board, the X13E Plus can become a centerpiece of your prep area. You can switch between deli meats, cheeses, and even firm vegetables like cucumbers without changing tools, keeping your workflow smooth. Because it doesn't require a power outlet, you can